What's gotten so expensive that you no longer purchase it? Story 1. Frozen pizzas are reaching the point of being more expensive than real pizzas. Might as well just go grab a hot and ready. They aren't $5 anymore, but still way cheaper than buying a frozen pizza that you have to put a little effort into baking yourself. You must get the fancy brands. Jack's, Tony's, and store brands are not too expensive. Then again, chain pizza places sometimes have good deals to make them not much more if you pick up. Story 2. Greeting cards being $7? No way. The best greeting cards are from TJ Maxx. They're a little more than Dollar Tree, usually $2.99 where I'm at, but they have really cute options. Would highly recommend it if you want an in-between option that's better quality than Dollar Tree, but less expensive than the Hallmark section at Walmart. My wife and I each have a large stock of cards given in prior years for various holidays and birthdays. We re-sign the cards and re-give them. Most have wonderfully nice messages that we spent a long while picking out. We loved them when we gave them for the first time. I've always written the year on the card so I know when it was first signed, and remember what was happening in our life at that time. And then I'll re-sign with the current year, adding an appropriate note for the current day. So we remember the prior year and experience the new one completely free. Re-signing is the way to go. If you're not super picky about cards, or are okay with only paying $7 a pop for ones you want to be really unique/heartfelt, I just bought a pack of 100 assorted occasional Hallmark cards for $25 on Amazon. Much better deal. But of course, there are some things like Mother's Day cards we likely won't use in favor of something less generic, but in a pinch it would be better than nothing. Plus, they come in a sturdy box with little file separators on occasion, so we were able to add in stuff we already had on hand. Story 3. I never buy chips unless there's some kind of BOGO. My store tried to trick me the other day with a giant $2.49 sign and a tiny font that said I needed to buy 5 to get the price. Otherwise, the regular price was $6.49 for a normal-sized bag. Wasn't even the party bag. Bastards. This and freaking cereal. These companies are insane, and I'm glad we're collectively not buying them because $7 for a box of cereal is asinine. It's honestly for the better though, because I've lost about 15 pounds in the last year by basically just not buying overpriced junk. I think the shrinkflation companies are relying on is going to actually be a detriment in the long run. Screw them. Story 4. Food from food trucks. I'm not spending $15 for a grilled cheese that I have to wait in the rain for. Oh man, this is right here. I remember when food trucks used to represent simple finger food that was a cheaper alternative to restaurants, especially taco trucks, used to be like 3 for $8. Now, these freaking places are charging $15 to $25 for a smaller sized plate than a sit-down restaurant. I have written them off entirely. Is it regulation? Parking fees? I don't understand how food trucks are expensive. It's literally a restaurant without most of the overhead. I know the cost of living is vastly different, but you can get a great bowl of pho in Vietnam from a cart for $1. No reason why the US can't be under $5. I mean, source food, labor, supplies, regulatory expenses, all that has gone up a ton in the past 4 years, so that's not making it any better. But these food trucks got way expensive even before all that. At some point, they managed to brand themselves into this exotic luxury experience, and it blows my mind that I have never seen any quality of food or service to back that up. They're charging food theme park prices like they're all Instagram worthy, and you're paying for this whole package experience. I'll say what we're all thinking. Food trucks overplayed their hand and they're going to lose business over it. The novelty wore off when people realized they were paying sit-down prices for counter service without air conditioning or bathrooms. I really have enjoyed food trucks for years now because they're typically locally owned mom-and-pop operations and were run by people who really cared about the food quality. But it seems like everyone and their mom now wants to run a food truck and yeah, sells $15 grilled cheeses. I get food prices have gone up, but come on. Where I felt they really jumped the shark was at a brewery I frequent. The food truck was a guy with a pop-up tent and a griddle from Home Depot, making smash burgers for $20 each, and they weren't all that memorable. No thanks. Story 5. Subway. Even the 6-inch subs are now over $7 before chips and soda. Subway used to be one of my go-to places to eat, but they dropped some of my favorites. Ingredients cost money, I get it, but the prices have gone up. They're hardly alone there, but what really did it for me was the last time I went in, I met an ex-coworker, and I'm not confident she wouldn't spit in my food in front of me. I only eat Subway with the coupons in the app. $5.99 footlong is my go-to coupon, and when that doesn't work, I use the BOGO footlong, so like 2 $7 footlongs and stick the extra in the fridge. I haven't eaten there in years because the last few times I did, the food was really crappy. Nostalgia got a hold of me last month, so I popped in for lunch. A 6-inch bag of chips and a drink was $14. You've got to be kidding me. Won't go there again. Food was still crappy. Wawa is the way. Trust in the Wawa. If a Wawa is not near, travel to the nearest Wawa. Or 2. Write to Wawa daily requesting they open a store near you. On the 7th day of the week, pray to the great hoagie god Wawa, thanking him for fresh, wonderful subs at all times of the day and night. Remember to write your senators to remind them that since Wawa subs are a truly religious experience, Wawa should be a tax-exempt for-profit company. Read daily passages from the Gospels of turkey, ham, roast beef, and chicken. Eat subs always. Eat subs continuously. Go to Wawa in all circumstances. For this is the will of the great hoagie god Wawa for you. Story 6. It's pretty damn expensive just to exist right now. Here's my take. It's not unexpected for prices to rise sometimes the way they have recently, for food and entertainment prices to swell to double what they were 10 to 15 years prior. But for that to be palatable, wages must increase in a proportional way, and that just hasn't happened. We're in the ugliest stage of late capitalism where the corporations are so big and powerful that they can increase prices substantially while keeping wages steady. The result is that the wealthy, investing class sees more profits and the poor, working class is left in a worse and worse state. This is where libertarian politics fails. If we let the markets self-correct, they simply won't. They'll continue to reward investors and workers will get into a worse place. What can be done? Well, some government policies can help: higher taxes for the wealthy, mandated minimum wage increases, and other policy levers. Unfortunately, these tools will always be overwhelmed by market forces in the long run. But hey, look on the bright side. Free markets. The best thing people can do is educate themselves on wage disparity, the wealth gap, and other failings of capitalism, or just join the rich. It's not capitalism that causes this, it's unchecked government money printing. Under a free market, prices tend to go down by about 5% per year due to advancements in technology and productivity, but the government targets a 2% inflation rate, which means that not only do we never see the benefits of that 5% deflation, but we lose an additional 2% of purchasing power on top of that, a deceptive 7% spread. More dollars chasing the same goods means that those dollars are worthless. This in turn means that merchants must either charge more dollars for the same product or else give you less product for the same price. In other words, shrinkflation. Don't blame the merchants, blame the money printing. Similarly, in an inflationary environment, your wages buy less and less with every passing year. This means that you need a raise every year just to keep your purchasing power from going down. But this also has the subtle effect of downward pressure on the wages people expect over time. If $40K per year was a reasonable wage 5 years ago, it is no longer today. But not everyone updates their mental model to keep up. Don't blame employers, blame the money printing. Since we went off a hard money standard in 1971, productivity has increased while wages have stagnated. A minimum wage of $6 in those times would be equivalent to a $36 minimum wage today. But we're struggling to get even a $15 minimum wage passed, and people can't afford to live. Don't blame policymakers, blame the money printing. It all ties back to currency debasement caused by irresponsible money printing. It's not capitalism that's broken, it's the money. Story 7. McDonald's. Not that I can't afford it, but I am not paying the current prices for cheap processed food for on the go. They are trying to be fancier. They should accept who they are and stick to being cheap and convenient. It has always worked for them. The app is the only way to get an affordable McDonald's now. The thing is, I don't want an app for every damn place I may go to. It used to be I could do just fine without a couple dozen corporate apps advertising to me and collecting data to get a good bargain. McDonald's also just isn't the kind of restaurant I want to play that game with. It's the quintessential, you never really want it, but it's there when you're driving back from somewhere convenience food. The moment ordering from it becomes any amount of effort. They lose me. Right? Where is the tacky decor of my childhood? Why are they all dark and cold now? They should have saved the money they spent upgrading and not raised prices as much. No way am I paying that much for McDonald's. The whole point is it's supposed to be cheap. Weirdly, all fast food has gotten insanely overpriced. You can get much better food for the same price if not cheaper. A month or so ago, I came across a post on Reddit of McDonald's prices in 2007. If those prices followed inflation, a Big Mac meal should be about $6.50. I checked around here, it's freaking $12. Wendy burger combo $16? LOL, WTF. The Taco Bell quesadilla combo was $8 less than a year ago. Now it's $13. LOL, nope. Why are all fast food places charging regular food prices for their low-quality crap? It's supposed to be fast and cheap. The quality is still cheap. They are just grossly overcharging. In-N-Out is now cheaper than all of them, with significantly better quality. Their price hikes are insane. We used to eat there often, but there are so many more options competing in their new price point. I just can't make myself think a $3.39 McDouble is okay, or an $8 fast food burger no matter how premium is normal. You can literally see through the McDouble patties now. Some other restaurants have caught up, but there was a while when I was getting good food for a lot less than fast food. I can get a whole bag of GV frozen burritos for less than one freaking burger. If I'm already okay with eating literal trash for convenience. Story 8. I just paid $22 per ticket Australian for my daughter and me to watch Dune Part 2. 2 drinks and a popcorn I think was around $25. So we're looking at around $70 for 2 of us to watch one movie. I may not be at the point of never going to the theater again, but it'll be a rare occurrence. I only do drive-in these days. You lose a bit on picture and sound, but it only costs $16 total for me, my wife, and my kid. I get to take my shoes off, lean my seat back, snuggle under a blanket, and comment on the movie to my wife without pissing other people off. The food is at about early 2000s pricing. Also, they have go-karts. I think it was around $15 per ticket to see Dune Part 2 here in the States. Add in another $20 for popcorn/soda, and it was over $50. It's definitely more expensive than it used to be for me, but at least the theater is nicer. Like being able to save your seat. The seats are reclining and much more comfy and are more distant than they used to be. Definitely no longer an every weekend thing like it was for me years ago, but for a movie like Dune where seeing it in a theater is a much better experience, I'll still see it as worth it. I'm also very happy to see Dune getting the recognition because on paper that movie shouldn't have been as successful as it has been. I really hope it inspires studios to get back to great blockbusters worth seeing in the theater and moving away from all the superhero movies. I don't need to see the same comic book character's origin story rehashed 5 more times. Story 9. Mobile apps. I'm absolutely infuriatingly tired of subscription services. The worst is that they let you download the app so that they can claim it as a download, only to get stonewalled by a subscription page. Let's go back to a one-time fee, please. Yeah, they're pretty horrible. I once downloaded a free rain sounds app. To remove the ads, which were just banners originally, it was like a $3 purchase. Out of freaking nowhere, the dev decided, nah, it's a subscription now, $50 a month. It was especially heinous because they were taking advantage of the one-tap purchase feature on Google Play. If you accidentally clicked the subscribe button, you would just automatically lose $50. I switched over to the MK Droid Rain Sounds app. That guy sticks to the like $1.50 to remove ads permanently. I downloaded a game recently, something about hamsters in a cookie factory. It was cute. I just wanted something mindless. After the first level, you can't tap the screen more than 2 times before it asks you if you want to buy more game coins with actual money. Kept trying to play, but every 3 seconds there was a pop-up to get me to buy more coins. I didn't want or need. Immediately deleted. I'm just not doing it. I'd rather hurl my entire phone into a river and never use it again than have to deal with that. Story 10. Concert tickets. I bought 2 sets of tickets this year for bands I've wanted to see for over 20 years. One concert cost me $600 for 2 tickets, and the other was $300 for 2. The ridiculous part of it all is that the fees alone cost more than 1 ticket. I can stomach $100 or $150 for good seats to a band I like, but I can't stomach another $150 in fees. This one hurts. I had tickets for The Offspring in February of 2022, and it got cancelled due to a lockdown. They cost me $140 total for 4 ticks. Took 3 months to get a refund. When I went to buy tickets for their 2023 rescheduled concert, they were going to cost me almost $450. As much as I wanted to go, I had already seen them at an outdoor Midway/music festival in 2019. That cost me $40 for VIP access to the front rows, as well as an all-day access to the Midway Fair. I couldn't justify $450 for meh seats after that. Canadian, not USD. Yeah, I grew up relatively poor and still got to see countless shows. Luckily, a lot of my favorite bands were small time and I could see them in tiny cheap venues, but still several times a year I was seeing world famous bands. It is literally prohibitively expensive for the average person to see concerts regularly anymore, and I don't even mess with arena shows. I'm in the same boat. Elton John was a must-see for me before COVID. I got online as soon as they went on sale and couldn't get a single seat anywhere. Within 15 minutes, local Kijiji was flooded with floor seats. My neighbor was trying to be helpful and found another show for me to try, and she said to me, "Look, there are third-level seats and they're only $250. I thanked her, but my first third-level stadium concert cost me $17.50. I saw Coldplay 3 times. Always on the floor and never paid more than $50. Saw Oasis again, on the floor for the same spend. I've resigned myself to never seeing big-name acts ever again. Even bands popular in my country, and not really outside of that, are now doing reunion tours, but still charging over $100 for tiny venues, standing room only. Story 11. Having a pet. Frowny face. I've had pets my whole life, but lost my last cat a few years ago. I miss having a companion, but I know I cannot afford beyond basic care right now or an emergency if it were to arise. Yeah, we just finished paying off our now-past cat's vet bill from almost 2 years ago. It hurt for so long. My wife and I are in the same boat right now, still paying off the bills from the end of our cat's life. It's really surreal to be paying bills on a pet that isn't even here anymore. It was a horrible situation all around, and I understand the vet has to make money, but it was so infuriating sitting in a vet's office for 3 hours after work, trying to figure out how to pay the bills and not being allowed to leave until we could pay, while we had a dying cat crying in his carrier and wanting to just go home. Us and the cat. It's something that really stuck with us, and when we saw how little financial help there was for dying pets, everything we found was for pets with a positive prognosis. It really shocked us. Probably a crazy idea, but now we're trying to start a memorial fund in his name to help others in similar situations. Seriously need to plug this. I have a dog with a chronic back disorder and paralysis. We have Trupanion, and there are a ton of places that take it like normal insurance, as in bill you 10% after the visit, not the same day. And they'll process it for you as well as at big hospitals, and it is considered gold. We walked into Angel Animal Hospital in tears, and the minute we said Trupanion, a huge wave of relief and tears came when they told us we likely wouldn't be paying anything today for spine surgery. Not to say this is not considerate, as it definitely is, but please also consider the sheer volume of shelter animals right now, which continues to grow. Many of these animals will unfortunately be put down anyway due to overpopulation. Personally, I feel that it is okay to have an adopted foster animal or 2, even if you would not be able to afford life-saving emergency care. They will have a longer and better quality of life, even if all you are able to afford is their basic day-to-day needs, if/until such an event occurs. Just my 2 cents. I have several pets, all rescues who would surely be dead right now if not in my care, but I would not be able to afford medical care in the thousands for any of them. I think that's okay. They've had great lives with me for several years. In the last few years, my dog has blown out her CCL, which cost us around $4K to fix, and was lame in her hind legs at night, so we rushed her to the emergency vet, inconclusive, and said, "Hey, exploratory surgery for the low price of $6K. I had to have an awkward conversation with my wife about the Rainbow Bridge. We'll take her to her normal vet in the morning. Got the damned hound home, set her on the ground for a moment to close the car door, and she walked a couple of steps on all 4 feet and plopped down. Also turns out they give dogs methadone. Go figure. And recently she started vomiting lakes of fluid and bile. Dry nose on death's door. Won't eat anything. Take her to the vet for possible intestinal blockage. X-ray inconclusive. More surgery is suggested in the $3K range. Again, take her ass home and we'll follow up the next day. Took her for a walk and she took the most heinous, foul-smelling crap ever. She immediately perked up, basically skipped home and ate her entire bowl of food. A few more rank craps and she was right as rain. In addition to her high-ass dog food, her high-ass pet insurance, her high-ass grooming bills, and everything else she gets on a regular, we have to drop around $500 at emergency vets to keep the dog alive. I love her, but when she dies, I am absolutely over having pets. I have a child now. Basically the same thing. Story 12. McDonald's. What the fuck happened to the dollar menu? There ain't nothing on there that costs $1. They raised the prices for everyone and only put the normal prices in the app now. So you either download their crappy app to get fast food pricing or they charge you FU pricing. Yeah, this is my answer too. If you want to pay $20 for a burger, I'm gonna go get a proper good one. My whole life, McDonald's was the place you go to when you want to spend a couple of dollars on some cheap, greasy food. Now it's even worse quality and the same price as the proper burger restaurant down the road. I stopped using the app and McDonald's when they wouldn't refund my order, which got canceled. Waited nearly 2 months of getting the runaround from both McDonald's and Uber and passing the blame back and forth to each other. Neither would call you back or allow you to speak to the next tier of management. Finally initiated a chargeback with my bank. Sad to have to chase a company that large for a few bucks, but it was the principle of the matter to me. Story 13. Me and the wife would have Friday as a more relaxing evening. We have 3 kids. We would always vary and order takeaway. Takeaway has gone from 30-ish to 50-ish or 60-ish and 70-ish dollars for the same stuff, plus increased delivery charges. Not worth it anymore. Family of 4, I feel your pain. We didn't go out or order in weekly, but it was a fairly common occurrence. Now it's a rarity, and it's usually tied to a special occasion. It's frustrating because I feel like my family's standard of living is declining even though I am progressing in my career and making more money. That last line. Yeah, I've been promoted every year since 2020. That's the only way I can keep up. Now I'm in a senior position, so I'm at a plateau, which means with the way things are going, next year my kids and I are going to be eating ramen and lighting candles at night. I grew up in poverty. The fact that I've worked so hard and still heading right back to square one is demoralizing at best. Same. Been promoted every year for the last 3 years, and I feel like instead of being better off, I've just maintained my standard of living due to inflation. This is what hurts so much. I'm making good money. I've gotten consistent raises and bonuses. I'm barely keeping my head above the water. And all those experiences I had as a child, I can't afford to give them to my kids? Skiing? No way that's affordable. A trip to a theme park? Not happening. A decent, reliable car for the family? Getting to be questionable. Summer camp? I have to do it, otherwise I face jail time as it's the most affordable version of childcare. And no family members have the ability to assist. The cost of everything is astronomical. Story 14. Dining out at restaurants. Want to order a pickup? Okay, that's $50 for 2 entrees plus a 5% meals tax, a 7% sales tax, a $5.50 convenience fee, and a $3 service fee. We'll also have a staff member stare at you while you're confronted with the touchscreen asking you to leave a 15, 20, or 25% tip. I've noticed a few restaurants skimp on the sides when I do takeout too. For the same burger and fries, have a mountain of fries on the plate in the restaurant, but when I do take it out, it's a much smaller handful of fries in the container. I've had that happen to me when ordering fajitas at the Tex-Mex restaurant I go to. They'll either ration the tortillas or the meat when going through the drive-thru, but they'll load you up with everything when you go inside. I can't complain though, their food and service are always good. When did every fast food restaurant start pushing the whole lay the fries down so we can half fill it and you won't complain because you're decent and we're evil mentality? Like everywhere I go tries to pull that scam and I have to walk back to the front, shake it till it shows it's half full, and say fill it up again or give me my money back. I just want the poisoned food. Why is it also pistols at dawn duel to get what I paid for? A family type restaurant we've been going to for a decade now, I swear, counts the fries on a a plate of fried fish, 15 fries, maybe a couple extra shards. I sound petty, but I can't help but notice. And the coleslaw now comes in an itty-bitty plastic cup just a tad bigger than a NyQuil cold medicine cup. Story 15. Takeout coffee. The espresso machine paid for itself in no time. I actually just did the math on this today for giggles if anyone is interested. A 12-ounce bag of beans at my local coffee shop is $19 for Ethiopian coffee. Beans are 10% off once a week and also come with a free drip coffee, which is great, but I'll assume full price, and conveniently generally yields about 19 double espresso shots. $1 cost per drink. A gallon of milk is $4.59. I'll assume 12-ounce milk for a latte with the occasional cappuccino thrown in. So let's assume 12 drinks per gallon, 38 cents per drink. I have a bunch of Monin-flavored syrups. Never measured precisely, but they're pretty strong and take a long time to get through if you're conservative with flavoring. So let's assume 5 cents per drink. My typical Starbucks order was a venti caramel macchiato or one of the seasonals, $6.25 per drink. Homemade lattes save $4.82 per drink. Bought a Breville for around $600. Takes 125 venti Starbucks espresso drinks to pay for itself. If you get takeout coffee on work days, 5 Starbucks orders per week, an entry-level home espresso machine pays for itself in 6 months. The machine pays for itself in half a year if you're a commuter at Starbucks. I got a DeLonghi from Sam's Club for like $90. Not the fanciest, but brews double shots deliciously. I am a coffee snob and I really like it. I stopped using my Nespresso machines because the cost per pod, even off-brand, was too wasteful in my opinion. I use Illy coffee and organic whole milk with that Monin pistachio syrup to make lattes at home. Delicious. So much cheaper than Starbucks Nearly Pistachio Latte. What makes me mad is when I do treat myself to Starbucks 1 time a week. It's always hit or miss. Why the hell am I paying so much for a drink and half the time it tastes like crap? The same goes for mom and pop shop coffees. I'd love to support you, but it's more than Starbucks and the drinks are so bad. We started buying a gas station cappuccino when we wanted something fancy. Everything else is drip with the cheapest creamer we can get. It's funny because I started out drinking instant coffee with milk and sugar. We reached coffee bar status with pump syrups and an espresso machine with a built-in frother and even fresh ground coffee. The espresso machine quit on us last year and I couldn't find an affordable equivalent. I'm still grinding my coffee, but it's dripping now. Things got worse and I honestly tried to go to cheap store brand coffee and regular powder creamer. I think I'd rather just give up coffee. I get coffee out probably 360 days a year, usually at a place in town that is recognized as one of the best coffee shops in America. The skill level is so high, they regularly place in the US Barista Championships. I say all that to say an iced Americano is $4.09. I'd rather pay them to get me close to perfect than spend $4 worth of my time getting a good enough cup myself. Plus it's like cheers in there with the baristas and the regulars. We have a Nespresso and it's just not the same. However, a daily $8 Starbucks drink is not worth it. Over-roasted beans, minimally skilled baristas, no sense of community, and more sugar than anyone needs. Blows me away even more when someone spends that via drive-thru for milk and sugar. At that point, you might as well brew at home. Story 16. Anymore, I rarely buy things brand new. Most of my wardrobe is thrifted or bought from places like Marshall's. When I got pregnant, we went to Once Upon a Child for all his clothes. Lightly used items were like 20% off what they'd be new. There was even a sale where all clearance items were $1. Babies grow so quickly, I just don't see a reason to pay $15 for something he'll only wear a few times. We also found his crib new and in the box on Facebook Marketplace for half the price. A bunch of brands seem to get simultaneously crappier and more expensive. I used to love Vince's clothes. It was always expensive, but when you got a deal, it was substantially less expensive, but it was quality. I have a pair of pants from 2018 that still last me. During COVID, the price seemed to double while the clothes didn't fit the same and fell apart. So yeah, no more Vince buying from me. But even the reliable thrift stores around me are starting to hike their prices. But I still make a beeline there if I need clothes. I had to go to the mall recently for a specific item and I almost choked at the price for a cheaply made shirt. On a related note, I respect the hustle of people thrifting over flipping for a profit, but I don't know about everywhere else. In my area, it's getting ridiculous. I thrift because I literally can't afford new clothes. These kids just bob around buying an obscene bulk and flipping a $5 dress for $30 in the downtown vintage stores. Stresses me out sometimes. Story 17. Amazon Prime membership keeps going up, and now there are ads when using Prime Video, unless you want to pay even more, of course. Have you noticed that Prime takes multiple days to get anything now? I used to place an order and would sometimes get next day delivery, but typically within 2 days. Now I'm waiting almost a week for the same orders. I'm strongly considering canceling. Came here to say this: guaranteed 2-day shipping is also getting worse in my opinion. About 40% of the time we have a package on board a truck for delivery, and then it gets delayed or a package arrives at the local share house. My wife orders something for delivery tomorrow, and all of a sudden I find my order has been delayed until tomorrow. Sometimes I rely on those delivery times. I don't mean to sound a buck up, as the free delivery is mostly accurate, but why pay for the membership when it doesn't even come through on the convenience? Rather just pick up what I need from Walmart, usually cheaper there anyway. Story 18. Haircuts. Pre-pandemic, you can easily find somewhere charging under $20 in my area. Now all the barbershops in my area start at $35. 3 years ago, I decided to cut my own hair because I always felt like the barbers I went to never really got the cut right, and I hate waiting for the haircut, even with the appointment. It's nice to see how much I save, but most importantly, I save an extra 30 minutes to an hour with travel and wait time. A lot of them lost customers to lockdowns, and those customers never came back. Now they are raising prices just to stay in business. Pre-COVID, I always had to wait for at least 1 or 2 people ahead of me, and the shop had 5 chairs, all with weights. Now I almost never have to wait at all. I like not having to wait, but it says something about how much business they are getting compared to 2019. I am a man, and this is for men's haircuts. I know women's haircuts are different. Story 19. Pre-COVID, a 24-pack of Diet Pepsi was $7.68. Today, it's $13.98, priced itself out of the market for me. Unless I see a good sale, I don't buy Pepsi or Coke anymore. A double quarter pounder with bacon and medium fries at McDonald's showed up as $12.48 on my app when I went to place an order. So instead, I paid just 50 cents more and got a bacon cheeseburger, fries, and rolls from Texas Roadhouse instead. Amazing to me how fast food prices are approaching and in some cases exceeding normal sit-down restaurant prices. I can tell a difference between the taste of Pepsi and store-brand colas, but that difference is fine considering I'm spending literally about $4.50 less per 24-pack. The McDonald's to Texas Roadhouse thing has practically stopped me from going to most fast food places because those price hikes have gone across the board. Subway used to even have a song in their commercials about the $5 footlong. That same sub today will run you $14. Arby's used to run $5 for 5 roast beef sandwiches. Now their special price is 5 for $10, and if they're not doing that special, 5 regular roast beef sandwiches are, no joke, over $25. I understand the whole paying for convenience premise here, but convenience, like anything else, has a perceived value, and a threshold where people start saying this is ridiculous and stop buying it. Thanks for watching until the end. If you have a similar story to these that you would like to share with us, please leave it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave us a like and subscribe. For more videos like this one right now, please stop by our channel. Thanks again, and see you next time.